Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am Chanarunrat, Director of Thailand Board of Investment, Paris office. It is my privilege to welcome all of you at this webinar, Energy Transition and Sustainability in Thailand, that we co-organize with French Renewable Energy Trade Association, SER, and Business from Thailand. Let me have a quick word about who we are. Thailand Board of Investment, BOI, is the investment promotion agency of Thailand. We operate under the office of the Prime Minister of Thailand to facilitate and support the investment project in Thailand, target activity, and the production of electricity from renewable energy is the part of them. WI Paris office is responsible for assisting companies from France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, United Kingdom, and Ireland. This webinar will update you on Thailand New Power Development Plan and give you information on how to apply for the governmental incentives to bid, finance, and get support from your renewable energy project in Thailand. With at the end, the icing of the cake, the sharing of business experience in Thailand from renowned and successful French group. I now have the pleasure to pass the floor over to Mr. Cyril Galabo, Secretary General of French Renewable Energy Trade Association, who will moderate the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Cherchan. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to our distinguished speakers. We would have a very dense morning around this topic of energy transition in Thailand, the opportunity for you French players in this field to partners with institution and company in this wonderful country. Before presenting briefly our organization, a few words how this webinar will be conducted. We would have several distinguished speakers throughout this morning in order to at the same time present you the energy policy and planning of Thailand that will be done by the distinguished doctors Verapat from the Ministry of Energy. A few words afterwards about the role of the Thailand Board of Investments and how they can support you in your installation or in your partnership in this country. And then we will come back to the topic of renewable energy project in Thailand with Mr. Prasetsak, who is Deputy Governor of EGAT, the Electricity Generating Authority of Thailand. And since it is quite important afterwards to finance the project, you would have some enlightenment from Raphaël Deguerre, Regional Head of North and Southeast Asia from Proparco, Thailand. And they are a partner also of this webinar, and they help us in the organization. Estelle David, who is Head of Business in Thailand, also great help if you want to look for a partner or have better knowledge of the renewable energy markets. There we'll have a few words on their action to support you, and we will finish this session with a few words from a feedback from Schneider Electric who is present in Thailand and can also give you some insights on the market and the opportunity. You will have the possibility to ask a question through the Q&R box and only through that means. No possibility to raise your hand or to use the chat box in order to facilitate the interaction with the speakers. And this webinar will be recorded and the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation, available afterwards. Who are we? Very quick, because I have only a few seconds left. So the French Renewable Energy Trade Association, the CER, is an organization that gather 417 members that works in France and abroad on the 11 renewable energy sectors, electricity and heating and cooling through renewable energy sources, created in 1993. And since 2012, the CER is also developing action through his international branch abroad with government, with multilateral and bilateral financial institution, with governments, with counterpart to promote the French know-how and also to develop renewable energy strategy, financing and warranty tools to help these projects to be developed and financed. At the same time, on the one hand, with utility scale project, and also on the energy access project that is something less relevant for Thailand. So that ends my quick presentation. And it's my pleasure and honor to give the floor to Dr. Verapat, Deputy Director General, Energy Policy and Planning Offices in Ministry of Energy of Thailand, for a presentation of the Thailand's Energy Transition Plan and Policy.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Cyril. Let me share my slides just a moment. Okay, have you seen my slide?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you to the Board of Investments of Thailand also, and thank you the French Renewable Energy Trade Association for allowing me to give you the information what Thailand is going to do with the energy policy. Today I have 5 topics that I'd like to talk about. Firstly, I'd like to talk about the National Energy Plan framework. This is a new National Energy Plan that we are now in the process of making it. We haven't yet done. We expect that the new National Energy Plan will be completed by the end of this year, or maybe the first quarter of next year. The second that I would like to talk about is the power development plan. That we'll talk about what we are going to do if we would like to meet the carbon neutrality target that we pledged in COP26. And also I would like to talk about the market development action plan as well, that because of new technology is coming into the energy industry. And so what we are planning to do to support this kind of things. And also the EV policy and plan, the target of the EV, and also the last one is the hydrogen. We all think about hydrogen, so because we think that if we just add only renewable energy in our power development plan, we may not meet the carbon neutrality target in 2050. So the thing is, what we are going to do to allow the the existing power plant, the existing gas-fired power plant to use hydrogen instead of gas, or maybe just mix hydrogen with gas to use in our power plant. For the National Energy Plan framework, last year we have submitted this framework to the National Energy Policy Council, the chaired by the Prime Minister. And at that time, we think that we are going to meet the carbon neutrality target of 2065 to 2070. But after we proposed this framework to the NEPC in December last year, our Prime Minister just pledged in COP26 that we are going to meet the carbon neutrality in 2050 and the zero emission in 2065. This means that we have come back revising our national energy plan, and now we are in the process of revising. But in the umbrella of the national energy plan, we have 4 pillars that we are now focusing on. The first thing is the renewable energy. In the first direction, we think that to meet the carbon neutrality, we have to add renewable energy in our power generation sector, which means that for the new power generation that is going to come in the next 20 years, more than 50% have to be from renewable energy. And also, it would be better if it come with energy storage system. For example, the solar with energy storage system. Another pillar is the EV 30 at 30. This 30 at 30 target means that in 2030, the 30% of total car production have to be electric vehicle. That the 30 at 30 target, that's EV, that we are now taking into account into the National Energy Plan. Another thing is the energy efficiency. We think that to meet the carbon neutrality, we have to use the energy much more efficient, which means that in the next 20 years, now at that time, we think that we have to improve our energy efficiency by more than 30%. But after our PM pledge in COP26, we think that the EEV now have raised the target to become about 40%. And the last thing is a 41E that we are going to add in our energy policy. For example, that under the National Energy Plan, we have 5 long-term plans. We have the power development plan that I will talk about later. We have the gas plan, we have the oil plan, we have the alternative energy development plan. Let's talk about the renewable energy and alternative energy plan, not only for the power sector, but also for transport sector and also the heat, for heating as well. And also the last one is the energy efficiency plan, which that we set a target to meet the 40% in the next 20 years. The 41E, decarbonization, digitalization, deregulation, and digitalization and electrification will be the key concern in all 5 long-term plans. That's already mentioned already. So I will move to the PDP 2018 revision 1. We are now in the process of making the PDP 2022, but this is a PDP 2018 revision 1. This is the one that we are now using at the moment. Due to the global energy trend that focus on clean energy and also the carbon neutrality target that have come, so we are now revising our PDP to 2022. In this PDP 2022, as you might heard earlier, that we are now going to think about the renewable energy that has to be more than 50% for the new power generation, which means that in the new PDP 2022, which will end 2037. I just start from this because the long-term plan that we have 5 plans. The long-term plan have to be aligned with the national strategic plan, which end in 2037. It means that all our long-term five long-term plan will be end at 2037, but we will have the outlook like the extension plan for until 2050 as well. But by the end of 2037, we think that we are going to have the renewable energy, the proportion of renewable energy in power development plan at around more than 50%. And maybe in 2050, we think that the renewable energy will share around maybe 70 to almost 80% in the power development plan. This is the current plan that we have. We have adjust the renewable energy in the first 10 years from 2021 to 2030. We are going to add about almost 10,000 megawatt to our power system. This from renewable energy. You can see that from solar, we have solar rooftop, solar floating, solar farm with the batteries, and also solar farm ground mount, wind, biogas, biomass, solid waste, as well as import and small hydro as well. Most of the imports from Laos at the moment is all hydro. Only one power plant is coal, but the rest is all hydro. In this PDP plan, apart from renewable energy, we have to think about the cost as well. We have the trilemma in terms of planning the power development plan, because when we add more renewable, it means that we have to think about the security of the system. If we add solar and wind too much, it means that the security of the system will not be stable. So we have to think about the security as well. And also when we add renewable energy, we have to think about the tariff that is going to be in the next 20 years. Which means that when we add renewable energy, we have to come back and think about the security of the system. Also the tariff that is going to increase in the future, because it's about the affordability of the people. But apart from the PDP, is a smart grid development plan. We also have the 20-year smart grid development plan that starts from 2015 to 2036. Under the smart grid development plan, we have 4 stages. The first stage, the preparation stage, is start from 2015 to 2016, mostly about the policy and preparation support for the smart grid development plan. But in the short term, we start to that start from 2017 to 2021, mostly about the pilot and R&D stage. We have we have several pilot projects in, for example, the smart grid, and also we have the RE forecast center. We have the demand response program pilot project. But now in Thailand, we are in the medium term of development of the smart grid. It is starting from 2022 to 2031. During this period, we think that we are going to allow all the technology in the smart grid system to be much more commercialized, and we are going to promote 5 pillars under this medium term. The first thing is about the demand response and energy management system. This we think that by the end of the medium term, during the medium term, we are going to use the semi-auto demand response and auto demand response that we can have the market of the demand response as well. We think that we are going to have the RE forecast center just to forecast the RE, the coming of the RE power plants, particularly the VSCP like solar and wind. We are going to have the microgrid system and also the prosumer, and we are going to have think about the energy storage system. This is we are going to use all type of energy storage system service in the utility scale. And also the EV integration. This is not about EV car. It's about the infrastructure that is going to integrate with the EV. For example, the V2G, when EV can become the battery and sell the power back to the grid. That the thing that's under the smart grid master plan, in the medium term master plan. For the benefit of the smart grid action plan, exactly, it's about the system of the energy system, and also the affordability of the system, and also it's helped promote decarbonization in the system as well. For the EV, we have the vision that we are going to have to become the world major manufacturing base for EVs and parts. And the target 30 come from the passenger car and truck, which means that in 2030, about 30% of total car production will be EV, which means that in 2030, around 725,000 car production will be EV in the year 2030. And we also have another target motorcycle. In 2030, we are going to have the production of 675,000 unit per year. For example, for bus and truck, just 34,000. Tricycle, passenger ship, railway, train, we all have the target for that. Under the EV policy, we divide in three parts. The first part is about the production. For the production, the Ministry of Industry will be responsible for the production part in terms of manufacturing base for EV and parts, in terms of establishing automotive and parts standard, and also the transition to EV. In terms of Ministry of Energy, we taking care of all the infrastructure, like the charging station network, the rule and standard and guideline for using the charging station, and we are going to promote smart grid technology to connect and manage under the smart grid master plan. But we also have the Ministry of Finances come helping us in terms of promote the using EV, including the tax incentive. That's the thing that you may heard that in Thailand, you want to buy the car, government give 150,000 baht for the people who buy the EV car. For the charging station that we have the plan, because we think that in 2030 we think that we going to have the fast charge target of 12,000 fast charge around the country, but this 12,000 account for just only 5% for the total charging station of our country, because we think that 5% is the fast charge that will be along the street, but the 15% it will be a slow charge. It will be located in workplace, department store, and maybe condominium, for example, and 80% is home charging station. So our target is just only 5%. This is a target for the public charging station. We also have the target for the energy storage system as well. But I think that's by the end of 2030, the target of the energy storage of the battery, of the battery will be around 5.4 gigawatt. That the target that we are going to produce in parallel with the car production. The last one is the guideline for the level of the production use hydrogen. We just start studying the possibility of promoting hydrogen in the country. So in 2021, we have the guideline for the hydrogen production and use in Thailand. In this year, we are now in the process of studying the policy recommendation and promotion of commercial use of hydrogen in Thailand. And we think that next year we are going to try to utilize and use and make a trial use in the EEC, Eastern Economic Corridor in Thailand. The potential of hydrogen in Thailand, we think about 3 targets. The first target is electric power generation sector, that we think that we are going to add the hydrogen and mix with natural gas and use in the coal-fired power plants. And the second is we are going to use the hydrogen in thermal power for thermal power for industrial plant sector. And the last one we are going to use in the transport sector. Due to the cost of the hydrogen and due to the development of hydrogen, we think that we can start using the hydrogen after 2030, and it will start using in the industry and in the power plant first. And we think that after 2025, we are going to add about 20% of hydrogen in the gas pipeline for use in power plants, and also is start from blue hydrogen. But we think that after 2040, we are going to develop, when we have more renewable energy coming in our system, I think that green hydrogen will be an option after 2040 that will help us achieve the carbon neutrality target. Yes, the guideline for promoting use of hydrogen in the energy sector, we are going to, there's one thing is going to be increased competitiveness and confidence, and another thing is to be prepared for growth. This is the very brief overall information about the energy policy that the Ministry of Energy is now considering. And as I mentioned earlier, that I think that the new national energy policy and also the 5 long-term plan will be completed by the end of this year or in the first quarter next year. It depends on the situation, but it will come soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Virapat, for this very interesting presentation. Just a few words for the Q&R. Reminder, we will take all the Q&R at the end of the webinar, except for Mr. Prasetsak from EGAT, who will have to leave us before the end of the webinar. And for the presentation of EGAT, we will take the Q&R after his presentation. So do not hesitate to use the Q&R box to ask your question, and we will have at the end of the webinar some few minutes to answer them. And please indicate which is the speaker you want to address the question to. We will continue and pursue with this webinar, and I give the floor to Mrs. Suida of the Thailand Board of Investment for a few words on investment support in Thailand.
Yes, host, please please turn on my video. Yes. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Good morning. I'm Suida from BOI. Okay. BOI is a government agency that promotes investment in Thailand in a direction corresponding to the national development policy. And the energy security is one of our key objectives to support Thai economy under the National Economic and Social Development Plan. And in order to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050 and net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2065, and EPC, or National Energy Policy Council, has set the energy policy direction by increasing the target of electricity production from renewable energy to 50% of the total energy. And because of that direction, So the National Energy Policy Council has approved a plan to increase the targets of electricity production from clean energy to almost 10 gigawatts in 10 years, starting from 2021. And recently in September, the ERC, or the Energy Regulatory Commission of Thailand, has released the announcement of the procurement of clean energy around 5,000 megawatts. And according to this announcement, investors can sell this clean energy to EGAT, or Electricity Generating Authority of Thailand. But this phase is already done. So please wait for the next round for another 5,000 megawatts. That is still in the black works. The red one has already some procurement already. Thailand has high radiation solar intensity, especially in the central Thailand and the northeastern Thailand. And we also have numerous unused agricultural byproduct or waste, and it costs 2.5 PM air pollution in Thailand. So Thai government encourage investors to utilize them as fuel for electricity generation. And for BOI role, BOI support investors by granting tax and non-tax incentive if they engage in business in BOI activity list. And also, we operate the OSOS Investment Center to facilitate investors in getting useful information and connecting with multiple agencies in Thailand. And at OSOS, we support both BOI investors and non-BOI investors in doing business in Thailand. And next is one-stop service center for visa and work permit that is on the same floor as OSOS Center. BOI staff work together with officers from Ministry of Labor and Immigration Center to facilitate you for visa and work permits. And nowadays, we have BOI online clinic to serve investors' inquiries about getting promotion from BOI. You can book online. There are many BOI officers available for you from Monday to Friday on Zoom application. So you can connect us via Zoom application every day. At present, BOI have 8 sections of activities eligible for promotion, but electricity production is under Section 7, which is service and public utilities. But next year, we will regroup our activities eligible for promotion into 10 sections. But public utilities is still in the same section as Section 7. And also, we have some change, but at present, BOI basic incentive packages, we categorize activities into 3 groups, Section 8, A, and B. But next year, we will regroup again into A and B only. But the same criteria is it's quite same criteria. Is that A1 for A1 plus is a special group about technology and innovation development. For group A1 to A4, we get corporate income tax exemption starting from 3 years with exemption on import duty on machineries and raw material and non-tax incentive. But group B will not get corporate income tax exemption. And this is basic packages. To focus on production of electricity, maximum benefit will be given to the production of electricity from garbage or RDF. You will receive 8-year corporate income tax exemption with no ceiling as A1 group. For production of electricity from renewable energy, you will receive an 8-year corporate income tax exemption according to the amount of investment, excluding cost of land and working capital. We also promote the production of electricity from other energy sources, but we promote only cogeneration and using clean coal technology. And next year, we will have a new activity that is production of electricity or electricity and steam from hydrogen, which will receive A2 as the incentive package. In the first phase, we will not limit the type of hydrogen. So green, blue, or gray is okay, because we would like to start of awareness of production of electricity from hydrogen together with ruling regulation and prepare for the infrastructure. But we will focus on the promoting the production of green hydrogen itself as A1 group. Is production of hydrogen will have many levels of incentive, but green hydrogen production will get A1 as incentive package. We also have other activities related to energy transition. And we also support SEP policy to encourage investors in production of zero emission vehicles. And furthermore, BOI also promote industries to use renewable energy in their production. So if investors in BOI activities have investment on electricity production for their own use, they can get benefit for that investment also. I will explain after a few next slides. If your project locates in our targeted area, you will get more benefit. Our targeted areas are SEC, 20 provinces with lowest per capita income, southern border provinces in Thailand, and EEC. And for conditions and criteria for project approval, first, the minimum investment requirement of each activities must not less than first million baht, excluding cost of land and working capital. And for financial credibility, debt to equity ratio must not exceed 3:1. And next is about the condition of machineries. I suggest investing new machineries in the electricity generation project. And the power purchase agreement must be attached with the BOI application. And for foreign equity restrictions, according to the ERC announcement of the procurement, some power purchase agreement may have to comply the qualification from that announcement. So for BOI, no foreign equity restrictions for private PPA. And this slide, my last slide, please. Oh, no, not yet. Please focus on promoting sustainability and decarbonization. This BOI scheme promotes companies who are currently non-BOI, but engaged in business in the BOI activity list, or BOI companies that their CIT benefits have been already expired. If they use renewable energy or reduce their energy consumption in the projects, they will receive 8 years corporate income tax exemption for the revenue of their business, their existing business, but not more than 50% of the investment cost of enhancement or the production of to improve their electricity system or reduction their energy consumption. Okay, you can find out more details in getting promotion from our website. And if you decide to invest in Thailand and get promotion from BOI, we have many online platform service for you for your investment in Thailand. And if you would like to submit application for BOI promotion, you can submit online through our e-investment promotion system. Okay, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Suwida, for this very enlightening presentation. It's my pleasure to introduce next speakers from EGAT, the Electricity Generating Authority of Thailand. Mr. Prasadsak, I think you are on a tight schedule. So give you the floor for your presentation.
Yes. I'm not sure whether in Thailand they are good evening, but in your country maybe good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see your slide. Maybe it's the last one of your presentation. It says thank you. I think you might be able to manage your presentation.
Yeah, shall we start at the beginning?
Yes, perfect.
Yes. We are talking about the renewable energy project in Thailand that is mostly on of that will become from floating hydro floating solar, that is hydro and PV combined together. Yeah, let's go on next slide, please. For EGAT duty, about EGAT, EGAT have two duties. The first one is the power plant that comprises of the dam that for hydro power plant and the renewable project, especially for wind and solar. After that, we have only most of the power come from gas turbine combined cycle, and some of that is the thermal power plant that lignite mine. The main trunk of Thailand is a transmission line. We have about 37,000 circuit kilometers around Thailand. That is the core or the backbone for Thai industry. And we have a fuel supply ourselves. We can be cheaper for the LNG imported to Thailand. Next, please. This slide shows you the electricity generation in only in EGAT side, that you can see 15,520 megawatt, which is about 30% of the total country capacity. Total capacity is around 42,000 megawatt. We already have most of that is natural gas power plant. Lignite mine is come at the hydro have a big capacity, but the energy generated from the hydro is quite low when compared to the lignite fire power plant that is continually produced at 90% pen factor. For pump storage hydro, we already have 1,000 megawatt in Lamtakong province, nearby Bangkok, around 1 or 2 hours from Bangkok. oil and diesel just for picking pen, and the other renewable may be 130. Most of that we purchase the power from the big one, independent power producer is about 16,000 megawatts. Small power producer totally is around 10,000 megawatts. And our neighboring country, we imported from Laos most of that 5,700 megawatt, mostly from Laos. We also have some purchasing from Laos PDR via Thailand and Malaysia. After that, they sell it to Singapore market. Next, please. Related with state for ICAT is just EC, engineering and construction of the power plant. And for transmission line business, we also have operation and maintenance for both power plant and transmission. The byproduct, some of the fly ash or bottom ash from the lignite fry, we sell to the other business, that the cement or in the other industry. The backbone of transmission line, we also have the optical fiber in that. Then we have some small revenue from telecommunication business. Next, please. This slide shows ICAT group. We already have 6 companies within ICAT. The first one, the ICAT and the subsidiary starting on your left hand side, ICAT International, that state-owned by ICAT almost 100%. 40% of the ICAT Diamond Services, EDS, that 45%. For Raj Group, we also have 45% for Raj Group, and ECO be the 25% decap, that just for district cooling for the airport. That is small amount there. We have invest not much, that, but the share of ICAT is 35%. The new one is we are starting up is the InnoPower. We have 40%, and our subsidy company ECO and RAD for 30% each. And InnoSpace of Thailand, we have invest 1,000 million baht of 13% of the shareholder, mostly come from PTT and the others. Next, please. The renewable energy in Thailand, maybe next slide. This one we show you that on your left is the fossil fuel base. That is at 35, this is total Thailand for almost 50,000 megawatt. That is, we did not including the pump storage hydro because we call it look like a battery. It is a pump storage hydro. Then in your right hand side, you can see that 14,000 megawatt come from renewable energy. Most of that we call the hydro, that half of them from domestic hydro and imported hydro power. Next, please. We are committed to be the COP26 for carbon neutrality in 2050, like the Thai policy by the Prime Minister Prayut. The CO2 emission target, we are going to be come from 2050 to 100 million ton carbon per that year. Is this starting from 2020 to 2050 is going down by 150 million ton will reduce. Next, please. The National Energy Plan, the National Energy Plan that come from the policy direction. The key message is 50% of renewable, that is a new capacity, should have renewable 50%, at least 30% in EV by year 2030. And the energy efficiency should be increased more than 30%. The energy industry restructuring, we use the concept of 4D and 1E. It means that electrify electricity and coming from decarbonization on of around, I think all of you already know 3D and 1E. The last one we added to that is the deregulation. Next, please. This is draft proposal. I'm not sure whether it will be submitted to the policy guideline or not. We are trying to have the renewable project about 7,154 megawatt. It is around 10% of the capacity in 2030. It is maybe say 70,000 megawatt in that year. Next, please. This is the call for this session. The 2,725 megawatt is the combination of the hydro, floating, solar. It means that normally we have PV, we put in the rooftop, we call PV rooftop. We put in the yard, we call solar farm. And we put in the surface of the water. In Thailand, we call floating PV. That we merge it together with hydro power plant. That I think in Thailand only that we have this kind, but we have seen in some pilot project in Portugal or in any country. This one is the biggest one for Sirinthorn Dam in 2020, 45 megawatt. Then this year, we already get the EPC contract for Ubonrat Dam that we have 24 megawatt. Next year, we will try to have many projects in Phumipol Dam, Srinakarin Dam, Vachiralongkorn Dam, and the Julaporn Ratchapapa. That's it, totally 2017. This is the chance for the investor from France or the French investor can come and join us. In addition, we submit the proposal to increase the potential of the floating hydro solar to 10,000 megawatt for the year horizon of at least 15 years. Next, please. This is the last proposal that already, I think, Kun Suvida already said that Thailand have announced that the price will be purchased from the big lot renewable energy. We call big lot RE. That is come for 25-year PPA, and the price already have fit in tariff for 2.17 from the solar farm for the winter by around 3 baht per kilowatt hour, biogas 2 baht, biomass 2.79 baht. And in the case that you put the battery with the solar, you can get a 2.83 baht per kilowatt hour. After that, the remaining is about the municipal solid waste or industrial waste that is get a higher cost because it's very quite complicated to construct. 5 baht for less than for the small size, and 3.66 baht for larger size from 10 to 50 megawatt. After for the industrial waste, we have 6 baht. That term is 20 years only. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prasetsak. Is there any question? I don't see any question on the board. Maybe I will start. That will lead other potential. If I recall the objective, total objective until 2030 for PV, you show us ground mounted, it's 3 gigawatts. And after that, you mentioned the floating solar PV, 2.7 gigawatt. Is there 2.7 gigawatts in addition to the ground mounted, or is it part of the objective of the
floating?
Floating.
It is separate.
Separate. So in total for PV, floating and ground mounting, it's roughly 6 gigawatts of objective for 20.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Very, very, very motivating and very interesting. And you have feed-in tariff system for ground mounted PV for wind energy storage, and is there a feed-in tariff also for floating solar PV?
No, floating solar PV, ICAT will build that in our dam. Because the dam is belong to ICAT.
Okay, okay. So it's your objective, and if other developers wanted to build the type of floating solar PV, they can get in touch with you, or how does it work?
Maybe I add some information. Even we do have it within ICAT own, but we use EPC contract. Then any company can join us for bidding to get the lowest price, and we can depend on our TOR. You can join us with it.
Okay, great. And IGAT is also responsible for the connection to the grid. Sorry for my poor knowledge on the system, on Thai system, but you're the main players for connection with the renewable energy project.
Yes, for the transmission line, we have you can have imagine that this year our investment 60% to the transmission project and 40% to the power plant project. That is many transmission company can come and join us with the transmission construction.
Okay, very interesting. I would have a lot of many more questions, but I see that we are running late on schedule. I don't see any more questions, but if the participants had some afterwards, I think the BOI would be very happy to transfer it for you. Thank you again for your presence during this webinar. I know that you are on a very tight schedule among different meetings, so it was an honor to have you on this webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have seen with the different speakers the context for renewable energy, which is quite challenging, motivating, and there's a lot of work to do. Another key element for projects in renewable energy is the financing. So it's a pleasure to welcome Raphaël Deguerre to this webinar, who is regional head for North and Southeast Asia in Proparco, Thailand, to talk about the financing of renewable energy projects in Thailand. Raphaël, I give you the floor.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can see my presentation.
Yes, maybe you can put it on full screen.
Yeah, just I have an issue in getting to the first slide and moving on. Just 1 second. Sorry. Working here. Okay. Well, it sounds like my presentation is not uploading correctly. I apologize for that. So maybe I'll start, and if someone from BOI can maybe upload that, that would be very helpful. So I will be sharing a few words on Proparco. Proparco is the subsidiary of the French Agency of Development, dedicated to the private sector financing. We've been active in Southeast Asia for the past 20 years, and we have a regional office based in Bangkok, which is covering Thailand, but also the Southeast Asian region. I'll start maybe just sharing a few words on who is Proparco, then maybe shifting to the financial products and the financial instruments we can propose, and maybe also focusing a bit on what we do in infrastructure financing and in renewable energy financing. And then I think it will be interesting to illustrate concretely what we've been doing in Thailand in the past year, even though the portfolio is just starting on our side. We have 2 outstanding transactions in the country, but we are expecting to be able to do more in the future. So for those who do not know Proparco, we are the French development financial institution. We've been so we are owned at 80% by the French Agency for Development, benefiting from the AFD, also international rating, which is AA, and active worldwide across sector. We've been our main mandate and goal is to support SDG sector. You can move maybe to the, thank you very much for the presentation, to the next slide, please. Yeah, the one after. Yes, very good, thank you very much. So SDG financing, but I think important probably to notice that and to mention that in Thailand in particular, we have a strong climate agenda and climate mandates. So really aiming at supporting in priority green projects. And I will share a few examples on what we could put into the green agenda. Also very much aligned with the IFC performance standards, which is the World Bank principles in terms of performance standards. And when it comes to renewable energy and energy transition, I think we have close look at few performance standards, especially IFC PS 5 and 6, which relates to the land issues, to the resettlements processes, and to the biodiversity aspects as well. So I think we have also a strong environmental and social angle into the way we review the projects we are financing. So you can move to the next slide, please. So the shareholding structure of Proparco is the following. We are mainly owned by AFD, and we have a number of other international and also French institutions, including French financial institutions, international financial institutions, and also more marginally corporates that are also into the capital structure of Proparco. Next slide, please. Thank you. In terms of international network, so in Asia, we have for Proparco, two regional offices, one in Delhi for South Asia and the other one in Bangkok for Southeast Asia. Last year, globally speaking, we've been approving 2.3 billion euros of financing, and it represents roughly a bit below 2 billion euros of signatures. In Southeast Asia, the volume of signature we're having is probably between 150 million euros equivalent and 200 million euros equivalent. Next slide, please. So in terms of investment strategy, just the slide after will be showing briefly the list of sector we are active in. You see that we are able to finance across sectors, including agricultural activities, bank financial institutions, manufacturing businesses as well, health, social sector, healthcare and education, and obviously infrastructure and energy. And I'll illustrate with few examples on this specific sector. We can move to the next slide, please. Yes, so maybe a few words on what kind of financial instruments we're able to propose. So you see that the spectrum is quite large, from debt instruments to also equity ones, including also guarantees and more soft resources, including technical assistance. On the debt side, I think in terms of amount, we are probably more comfortable in providing financing between 10 and 100 million US equivalent. Depending on the sector, I would say that for the renewable energy sector is probably tickets between 10 and 50 million. We can go higher, and we do that sometimes in partnership with other development financial institutions like FMO, DEG, and the multilateral development banks as well, IFC and ADB, for instance. Probably the value added in Thailand in the market is probably the ability to provide long tenor for this sector, and probably a bit longer compared to commercial banks. The challenge probably for us is more on the currency side, for which we are mainly used to provide USD financing. Even though in the current context, we've seen recently that the hedging cost between USD and Thai baht has improved, and we believe that there is now probably at the moment room to be potentially competitive also in local currency in Thai baht, which definitely opens some opportunities in the renewable energy sector for maturities, let's say up to 10 to 12 years. So I'm not sure we'll be able to provide 20 years loan terms in local currency, but for local currency financing, maybe 10 to 12 would be a sweet spot. Equity financing is also something we're doing more on a minority shareholding position with smaller ticket size, 3 million US to 20 million US equivalent. And with a clear also, we need to get clear visibility on the liquidity of the investment and exit possibilities. Investment horizon is between 5 and 8 years. Maybe a few words on the additional resources on the bottom line of the slides. We have a full technical assistance offer and solutions, and those technical instruments are also covering the climate and the green agenda to support banks in their green financing. But not only, we have also specific technical assistance instruments which is dedicated to green bonds emission to support issuers in building their bond framework and to build the go-to-market agenda process for them to issue sustainable or green bonds. And we have another facility I wanted to mention also today is the PIB1, which is a technical assistance window dedicated to energy efficiency. And I think in terms of climate financing, we believe that Thailand is really, in terms of opportunity on energy efficiency, very interesting, a number of things to do. And this TA facility provides you some fund and expertise to handle some energy audits, to do also some carbon assessments, or to support you when you need to include in the procurement documents or in specific tenders on the ENS side, some element, or energy efficiency side, some components and content. This facility also could support you. And assistance also in building certification, green building certification. Yes, so that's for the financial instruments that we propose on the market. We can move to the next slide, please. I think this is the previous slide. Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. So few figures on what we've been doing so far in the region. As of December last year, we had 45 active transactions, which represented a bit, roughly, let's say, €500 million equivalent in terms of active exposure. Last year, it was for us 15 projects signed, representing $175 million US equivalent. In few countries in the region, Cambodia, China, Vietnam, Indonesia, but also Thailand. I wanted maybe to share briefly our modest experience in Thailand, but I think we'll definitely try to leverage on that and to do more. We've been signing earlier this year an interesting investments with Green Yellow, which is covering Thailand. Green Yellow is a solar developer providing energy solutions and energy efficiency solutions to the private sector. Solar for CNI purpose, so for self-consumption purpose. And this is a minority equity investment of 25 million USD equivalent. I think end of last year, Green Yellow had in Thailand roughly 170 megawatts of solar productions, either in production or either through signed corporate PPAs. And this has probably even extended since then. So our financing really supports the Green Yellow platform to develop further its portfolio. We did also another investment in a local investment funds, private equity investment funds, which is Lombard 5. I'm mentioning the fund because he's a well-known private equity player in the country, even though the fund is more generalist and not necessarily focusing on renewable energy. On AFD side, which is our mother institution, we've been also active in green financing. We have an outstanding credit line with Kasikorn Bank, which is a green credit line dedicated to energy efficiency and renewable energy as well. Yeah, so maybe just to conclude, just highlighting a few points when it comes to infra and renewable energy financing for us. I think we can look at different approaches in terms of structuring the transaction. We can do either a corporate lending approach with specific guarees from the developers. And we can also look at the projects through a project finance approach. So we're able to do both. I think the key point of attention for us will be definitely the capacities of the developer, the track record in the country and in the region, the soundness and reliability also on the offtake side, the PPA terms to be as close as possible to take or pay mechanisms, and looking at change of law, termination risk, curtailment aspects as well. The PPA currency, I think, is also an important point, and in Thailand is mainly denominated in Thai baht. So I think for us, the next step will be, and we have some outstanding discussions to potentially provide local currency, so Thai baht debt financing to IPPs, to private IPPs, and to developers for them to develop their portfolio. There is at the moment a tender process which is ongoing for 3.3 gigawatt of solar which is, I think, closing soon, end of this month. We'll be definitely happy to support some of the applicants there. Another point of attention is the feed-in tariff, which has been mentioned earlier. I think very interesting to see those different approaches on the various technologies. And I've mentioned earlier, but I'm again emphasizing on the fact that the ENS, environmental and social aspects, are very important for us, and we really want to promote high standards projects on this. I think there is definitely huge potential in Thailand, given the very strong industrial footprint in the country, which is a highly contribution to the GDP, I think more than 30% from the industry side. And also mentioning that the Thai also IPPs and investors also are also very active in the region and not just in Thailand. So I think it's also very interesting for us to open a dialogue with investors that are also willing to do and to finance projects in the sub-region. I have in mind, for instance, number of neighborhood projects, for instance, in Laos, hydro projects that we've been financing in the past that are also supplying Thailand in electricity as well. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to share briefly our small experience in this region and in Thailand in particular, and happy to have side discussions after this webinar with some of you, or to address any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raphael. Indeed, the financing is very important in renewable energy since it is quite capitalistic intensive sectors. So there's a key element in the condition of financing, and I'm sure there will be a lot of questions at the end. Do not hesitate to use the Q&R if you have a question. There's a few coming. Please try to focus them on the topic of this webinar. Thank you again, Raphael. You're staying with us for the Q&R question, the Q&R session. Sorry, I have a few on my own prepare. It's a pleasure to continue this webinar and give the floor to Business France Thailand, the head for Thailand, Mrs. Estelle David. And to recall that Business France helped us to build this webinar, and which is the first step of maybe a more intensive and a deeper program to accompany the French player interested in this market. Please, Estelle, is up to you for a few minutes of presentation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. So yeah, so my name is Estelle, and I'm the country director for Business France in Thailand, and I'm very happy to be with you today. So actually, BOI is showing my slides, so I will just let you know what you need to change. So can you go to the next slide, please? So actually, for this presentation, you had a lot of information already, so I try really not to repeat. But the idea, a few points, is to compare the French and the Thai energy market, but also to explain you what Business France does in Thailand and how we help the French companies in the kingdom. Next slide, please. So first, I would like to maybe give you a few facts and figures to be able to compare our two countries. Next slide, please. We spoke a lot about Thailand and all the plans, so and that was very interesting. Just to compare, so to give you an idea, so at the moment, France requires an energy supply of around 10 million ton joules equivalent per year. That is mostly supplied by the nuclear energy. And if we look actually where is produced this energy, we see that 55% of the energy supply in France is produced on the territory itself. You can see on the slide that actually oil is quite important. However, if we look, the oil that is showcased here account mostly for the mobility sectors, so not the power generation, but for the cars and for the trucks. And if we look at in terms of renewable energy share, we can see that in France it's growing actually steadily. We can see that it has been enforced actually with dedicated framework on the climate at the country level and on the European level. Also, I've put the link. But just to share with you an example, so for instance, Europe decided that at least, on all the public buildings, solar panels will have to be installed by 2025. Next slide, please. I just like to share with you the ecosystem of the energy and energy efficiency market in France. And as you can see, it's quite rich, and not only in Paris actually, but as you can see all around the country. The renewable energy and energy efficiency expertise is growing all around. And for instance, you can see that for the offshore wind is mostly in the north or the west. Biogas is more in the east, solar in the southeast. So I haven't mentioned also hydrogen resource, but as you might know, France is also strongly supporting hydrogen expertise development to support the very consuming industry. Next slide, please. So now the idea is just to compare with the Thai market. Next slide, please. And if you look, the interesting thing is that you can see that here, actually, the energy needs in Thailand accounts for almost the half of France's energy needs. As you can see, in Thailand, no nuclear energy, even if it seems that the country is maybe open to discuss the matter further. Just for information, we learned during the APEC summit that was last week in Bangkok that the US wants to build small modular nuclear reactor in Thailand. So why not France on this topic? So it could be interesting to have a look at it. Also, we can see that most of Thailand needs are supported by oil. Actually, it's not so clear here on the slide, but actually Thailand relies heavily on oil and gas import. And it has a strong impact on the energy price crisis, definitely. And on the top of it, due to the high dependency on oil for the mobility sectors, definitely the development of biofuel is critical. And definitely you need to use the solar resources in the country. So when you see all this, it really sounds like a perfect cocktail to heavily support the development of local renewable energy sources in Thailand from financial, energy security, and environmental point of view. Next slide, please. So I won't go through this slide because you had all the different presentations with all the different policies and targets. But just as you saw, the country has fixed ambitious targets on renewable energy production. And the country is really strongly focusing on its energy transition. And we heard about the electric vehicle and the charging station. So that's really one of the big topics in the country at the moment. Okay, next slide, please. So now we'll go maybe more into do business in Thailand and how we can help you. But before before starting on what Business France does in Thailand, definitely one of our recommendations will be that if you want to work in Thailand, that would be if you are not in the country already, you will need to find a partner, and this one will be a key to connect with the different targets and potential customers here. So definitely we can help you for this. Next slide, please. Next one, please. So just maybe quickly, maybe I'm not sure if everyone knows what is Business France, but basically Business France is the governmental agency. We have two main roles. The first one is to help any French companies to do business overseas, and so for us to do business in Thailand. And the second one is the opposite, which is to help Thai investors to invest in France. So we've shown you on this slide the different companies that we helped on this sector of the energy for the last 2 years. So as you can see, it's really we help mix of companies. It could be major groups, big groups, or it could be SMEs. Because actually each company, will have different needs. Some of them will be more looking to, as mentioned before, like find a partner, distributor, agents, or find potential customers. Some other are just looking to get information on the market. What are the opportunities? And then that definitely we can help you with all of this. Also, maybe the multinationals, the bigger groups, maybe for them it might be more on communication. So it really depends on the needs of each company. Next slide, please. So so the idea here is to share with you. We published a lot of information, free information about the Thai market and opportunities in Thailand. So I invite you to have a look to these different resources. We have a website where you can even create alerts, regarding the different topics that you are looking at. But you can have access to everything for free. Also, we have a LinkedIn page for ASEAN, where actually we share also different information regarding if new let's say new projects are coming, or incentives or whatsoever. So we will be sharing on this platform also. And also, if some of you are looking to maybe have more targeted information, we can always organize a call between you and us, and to present you a bit more of on our site, what are the opportunities that we think that would be interested for you. Next slide, please. So maybe how we can, just to explain you how we help the companies. It's really two ways. One is what we call the individual. So it's really the targeted service. Maybe if, sometimes I just, to summarize, I just say that we are a kind of consultancy agency, but subsidized by the government. So we will provide market studies, or identify potential agent, distributors, or everything that I mentioned before. So that's really targeted to your needs. Next slide, please. But also the second type of missions that we have, and how we help actually the French companies, we create a lot of events. So it could be trade shows, it could be special delegations on special topics. So that's one of and the example that I'm sharing on the screen right now, where we bring delegations. So for instance, this one was in May this year regarding the Thailand net zero strategy for 2065. So the idea was really to bring the French expertise and to meet with the local entities. And for instance, you know, during this event, you know, some negotiation and discussion, I'll say, started between France and Thailand about a MOU coming for the energy transition. Next slide, please. Also, so I was mentioning of coming French companies coming to France, but also we are here to support the Thai when they go to France. So we might contact you also when some Thai companies or Thai agencies will be coming to France. And the idea always is to matchmake, you know, and create a maximum of business opportunities and network. I think should be the end of my presentation. I haven't seen that. Yeah, should be next slide. Yeah. So thank you very much. Do not hesitate if you have any question, and basically we are here to help you, and you will have a dedicated team to help you to enter this market. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. David. Of course, Business France remain first-class partner, and we hope that this webinar will be the first step to other action to bring these renewable energy sectors into this great market. So thank you all. The webinar will be available soon on replay. And the PowerPoint, the presentation will be also sent through the website of the BOI.